I define applied theater as a tool. It's a resource.
A way to create situations for dialogue, and it's an opportunity for people to connect and for people to interact and create new ways to talk about things that are really important to discuss, that in other situations those things may be really hard to talk about and difficult to express. But through applied theater, new prospects are open to communicate and articulate about the world, its difficulties and oppressions. And it's not about coming up with a solution or an end-all, but giving people an outlet and an opportunity that isn't present as often as it should be.
Applied theater is a combination of my passions in life: theater, teaching, and people.
I've been brought up and educated in a very marginalized group, and there are a lot of things that I haven't had that much exposure to. And even though I may have a lack of exposure in many different types of oppression that are found in the world, and even here, even in New York City, there are strengths that I have because of my background to be able to facilitate those who are in those settings and experiencing different kinds of oppression in life. I want to teach in secondary education settings, and I want to use applied theater to work and explore oppression and social issues within those settings. And then moving forward onto other new situations, including colleges and university levels of education. I'm also interested in using applied theater work within these educational settings and communities to be able to help people and make a difference in the world, both on a large and on a small scale. I consider theater to be more than a form of art and entertainment, but a practice that really is vital for the development of people and a way to learn and explore and create.
And I want to bring those opportunities to people who wouldn't have those opportunities. Throughout my training and education, I've been creating a bank of ideas and resources that I can access as a facilitator and as a teacher.
And when I'm teaching a class or I'm leading a workshop, I always over-prepare, and I have a lot of activities and games and discussions that I have planned for that period of time that I'm teaching or facilitating, and I'm never able to get through everything that I've prepared. But that's not my goal. Because of my preparation, I can gauge the direction of my class according to the needs of the group with which I'm working. I like to have a plan and a direction, yet I'm really flexible and I can adjust to the needs of my participants, and I can adapt to my audience. To do this as a facilitator, I need to pay really close attention to my participants and students that I'm working with, and I can adjust accordingly, according to the group's needs. And this creates more of an opportunity for discussion and for learning within the group.
I am a strong leader and a really good listener, and I love to try out new things as a presenter and an actor. I jump in with both feet, and I'm willing to step out of my comfort zone and act on my impulses. I have a very strong sense of self. I know what my boundaries are, and I also have a really great sense of awareness when it comes to other people's boundaries and their needs. And I'm able to help others break down their barriers and feel comfortable while still pushing them in their participation within the group, workshops, classes in which I'm teaching.
Interesting to note, kind of like as the further we went into the exercise, we were comfortable with each other, and that was shown by the kind of shapes how we were using our bodies. Before, we were all kind of very closed in, protecting what was ours, but kind of afterwards, we're kind of spreading out. We trusted each other. We felt really comfortable, and that negative space it became just a way to connect without touching. It kind of made us into really this kind of form.
2 heads are better than 1, and 3 are better than 2, and et cetera, because this art, it's so important to have a collaborative environment and people working together. I have an understanding of the importance and the ability to jump in and say yes. I think it's good to try new things and to struggle through and fake it and make it work, and then take a step back and evaluate and discuss and grapple with the awkwardness of what may have just happened within a group. I also have the ability to be very focused, and I'm serious about the work in which I'm doing, yet at the same time I'm lighthearted and easygoing, and I can laugh at myself, which I think is really important when working with people and in groups.
I decided to do a facilitation of some workshops. And so I did 3 separate workshops, 6 hours in whole, and just cut down a little portion for my solo presentation of me as a facilitator. We used headlines and news articles and different applied theater games and tools, and had some really incredible experiences through the workshops. All right, ready for your headline?
Yes, ma'am.
Is religion really dying? Is religion really dying? And word or sound?
Here, Father.
Okay, hold. Now what I would like you to do, I'm going to ask you to continue when I say go, and I would like you to choose someone, take the same position that they are, opposite of them, and say a word or a sound that is an opposing view from what they are saying. Okay, continue, go.
I definitely distanced myself from this group. I felt like they were all pro, I wasn't sure, but I wanted to be over here and alone. And it was very easy to say, who cares, when they're all over here, my back's turned to them, like I don't even see them.
Yeah.
When Hallie came over though, it was like, face the problem head on. I have to look at her, I have to hear her saying, it's important. And I had to change my tactics, the way I was saying it, the way that I was approaching her, and there were times when I was just like, who cares? Like, maybe you're right. No, who cares? Like, yeah.
And how often do we do that? We ignore problems, we block it out, and we say, I don't need this, I'm just gonna stand over here and I'm gonna ignore it. And when do we face it? And when does it come to face us and we have nowhere else to turn or nowhere else to go, and we actually have to face, who am I, what am I doing here, and what does this mean, and what's my place in it? So, and when do we face those opportunities? Doesn't happen enough. Are there ways that we can create those opportunities more often? Or are we constantly running?
I've noticed that actually as I've been here at Brigham Young, it's such a different culture than my culture that I'm actually finding myself needing to even be more aware of what I really am, because I can sink into other people's values easily because I say they're at my own church. And when I was out here, when we were doing this activity, it kind of brought out in me like, oh, I need to stand for myself. I need to stand for what I am, what I'm doing. Like I was praying here, and I was being told not to pray, and I was like, well, here, like I need to stand for who I am, regardless of where I am.
I need to stand for who I am, regardless of where I am. I like that. That's a really strong statement. Awesome. I love running and hiking and rock climbing and biking and just being in the outdoors. I am fluent in American Sign Language, and so, which is why I use my hands to talk so much, because I usually am signing. I also love to travel. I went on a study abroad to London, which was an amazing semester of studying and living theater.
And after my program, I traveled to Ireland, France, Italy, and Scotland by myself, and just absolutely loved it.
Last summer, I went to India on an artist intensive with New York City's Theater Me Too company.
Theater Me Too is an experimental company that has very close ties to NYU and NYU Abu Dhabi, and I'm also interning with them right now. Being an intern has been a great experience at developing the design side of my educational experience, as I've been working primarily with the costume designer. Going to India with Theater Me Too was an experience of a lifetime. We got to study Indian art, Mohiniyattam, Kali Depayattu, Carnatic music, Kathakali, along with taking other cultural context classes so that we can learn about the customs and religions and traditions and of where we were in India. I have found that I love to travel because it exposes me to new worlds as an artist, literally and figuratively speaking. I love studying different cultures and religions and traditions, and I think a big part of why I love it is every time I go somewhere different and meet and converse with new people and discover new things, I really am learning more about who I am
and what I believe.